Sometimes the end of a relationship doesn't begin with an argument. It begins with silence. The conversations become shorter. The excitement fades. Small moments that once felt meaningful suddenly seem routine. To the other person, everything might look normal on the surface, yet something deeply important has already started changing beneath it. Today we are going to explore why emotional detachment often happens long before a breakup, and what many people completely misunderstand about this subtle, quiet process. Before we dive into the core psychology, where are you currently in your own journey? Are you in a relationship right now, navigating the dating scene, or reflecting on a past connection? Share a quick piece of your experience in the comments below. Many women process their emotions slowly, over long stretches of time. While the relationship continues to look perfectly stable on the outside, they might already be asking themselves difficult, quiet questions inside their own minds. This is precisely where so many people become confused. They assume the breakup started on the exact day it was officially announced. From a psychological standpoint, however, most emotional decisions begin much earlier. They rarely spawn from one dramatic event. Instead, they gradually take root through months of repeated, unaddressed emotional experiences. That doesn't mean every single disagreement leads to emotional distance. Disagreements are a natural part of human connection. Healthy couples argue. Healthy couples disappoint each other from time to time. Healthy couples make genuine mistakes. The critical distinction comes down to whether those painful moments feel like temporary bumps in the road, or whether they begin forming a predictable pattern. Patterns matter immensely because the human brain is wired to pay close attention to repeated emotional outcomes. When someone repeatedly feels unheard, dismissed, unimportant, or emotionally isolated, those recurring feelings slowly begin shaping how they view the safety of the relationship itself. In female psychology, emotional safety is often valued just as much as practical stability or physical presence. Emotional safety doesn't mean a relationship is completely free from conflict. Rather, it means a person feels respected and safe enough to express vulnerability, disappointment, or insecurity without fearing immediate rejection, harsh criticism, or cold indifference. When that baseline of emotional safety weakens over time, many women don't immediately pack their bags or end the relationship. Instead, they start protecting themselves emotionally. This self-protection rarely looks dramatic or confrontational. Sometimes they simply stop sharing their private thoughts and personal achievements. Sometimes they stop bringing up ongoing problems because they have privately concluded that talking about them no longer changes anything. Sometimes they gradually redirect their core energy away from the partnership and invest it into close friends, career milestones, personal hobbies, or long-term goals. To an outside observer or even a partner who isn't close attention, those shifting behaviors might seem completely unrelated to the relationship. Our minds, however, they reflect a monumental shift with a mention an emotional investment. Here is an unexpected reality that catches many people off guard. Many men only notice the emotional distance after the woman's internal connection to the relationship has already reached zero. That happens because emotional detachment is inherently quiet. It doesn't arrive with a loud warning siren or a massive blowout fight. Instead, it settles in through dozens of tiny, almost invisible moments. It looks like a gradual decline in natural curiosity about your day. It looks like less enthusiasm when planning future events together. It looks like a noticeable drop in emotional vulnerability and spontaneous affection. It looks like a complete lack of interest in repairing ongoing conflicts. When those small moments stack up continuously over weeks or months, they silently reconfigure the fundamental foundation of the partnership. This naturally raises a critical question you might be asking right now. Why wouldn't someone simply lay their cards on the table and say exactly what they are feeling before pulling away? The answer is rarely simple, but it usually traces back to how earlier attempts at communication were handled. Many women communicate their growing concerns long before emotional detachment actually takes hold. The catch is that this early communication doesn't always look like an ultimatum or an intense sit-down conversation. Often, these concerns are expressed as quiet, gentle observations. A woman might say, "I really miss how close we used to feel." She might mention, "It feels like we're just coexisting instead of actually spending quality time together." Or she might express, "I feel like I'm handling everything on my own lately." If those soft signals receive minimal attention, get brushed off as overthinking, or lead to temporary promises that never result in lasting behavioral changes, the person sharing them slowly reaches a painful conclusion. Their emotional reality no longer matters to their partner. Notice something fundamental here. This isn't about placing blame entirely on one person. Relationships are complex, dynamic ecosystems involving two distinct individuals, and communication breakdowns happen on both sides. However, repeated emotional disappointment changes how human beings protect their hearts. To see how this plays out in real life, consider a couple living under the same roof. The partner mentioned several times over the course of a year that she felt lonely, even when they were sitting in the same room. Each time the topic came up, her partner apologized, promised to be more present, and made a quick effort for a day or two. But within 48 hours, the old routine always returned. Months later, when she calmly explained that she was leaving, he was entirely blindsided. From his perspective, the breakup came out of nowhere. For her, the decision wasn't sudden at all. She had spent the last 6 months grieving the end of the relationship while still living inside it. Situations like this illustrate why a breakup can feel like a sudden shock to one person, while feeling like the final, logical step of a long process to the other. Can you relate to this dynamic? Have you ever experienced a situation where someone was physically present, but emotionally gone? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. Reading different perspectives helps all of us build deeper emotional intelligence. Another major misconception involves how affection works during this process. Many people falsely assume that emotional detachment begins the moment physical affection or kindness vanishes. In reality, the exact opposite frequently occurs. Some women continue to show warmth, kindness, and helpfulness long after their deeper emotional connection to the relationship has dissolved. Why does this happen? Because caring about another human being's general well-being is not the same thing as feeling romantically or emotionally attached to them. Human beings are entirely capable of separating basic empathy and compassion from relational closeness. This distinction trips up a lot of people. Someone might still ask about your family, help around the house, smile during dinner, and consciously avoid unnecessary friction, all while privately weighing whether the relationship has any long-term future left. This naturally creates confusing mixed signals. One partner believes the relationship is actually improving because the home environment is peaceful and arguments have stopped. Meanwhile, the other partner has simply stopped fighting for change because they no longer believe the effort will yield a different result. Silence can sometimes mean peace. But in many relationships, silence simply means hope has finally run out. Learning to recognize the difference requires leaning in and paying close attention long before open communication disappears entirely. A crucial observation many people overlook is that emotional investment doesn't survive on autopilot. It is sustained through consistent, mutual responsiveness. When a person feels consistently heard, valued, and emotionally safe, their natural impulse is to lean further into the relationship and invest more of their heart. When those reassuring experiences become rare, their motivation to stay invested naturally drains away. Psychologists who study adult attachment and relationship dynamics have repeatedly documented this phenomenon. Studies published in major relationship science journals highlight that perceived emotional responsiveness is one of the single strongest predictors of long-term relational stability. People stay deeply connected not because of grand gestures, but because they believe their partner genuinely cares about their emotional state on a random Tuesday afternoon. Over time, these small, daily micro-interactions shape the trajectory of a relationship far more than expensive vacations or elaborate anniversary gifts ever could. Think about what this looks like in everyday life. A genuine, attentive 10-minute conversation after a stressful workday builds far more lasting emotional trust than an expensive gift given after an argument. Listening patiently when your partner is expressing frustration, without getting defensive or rushing to offer a quick fix, creates deeper intimacy than planning a lavish date night weeks in advance. Small, reliable emotional habits construct trust brick by brick. And slowly, when those small habits fade, that trust begins to crumble just as quietly. This brings us to a counterintuitive insight about relationship conflict itself. Most people actively fear arguments and view disagreements as a sign that a relationship is failing. Psychological research suggests something quite different. Respectful, engaged conflict is rarely the true threat to a relationship. Passive emotional disengagement is far more dangerous. If a woman is still willing to express her frustration, debate an issue, or push for a solution, it means she still sees value in the partnership. She is still spending her energy to bridge the gap between you. When she stops bringing up what bothers her, stops trying to resolve recurring issues, and simply nods along, her internal motivation has dropped. That is why trying to build a relationship by avoiding all disagreement is a trap. A peaceful relationship that lacks genuine emotional connection is often just a relationship in the final stages of detachment. Learning how to navigate disagreement with respect, empathy, and maturity is infinitely more valuable than trying to keep the surface calm at all costs. So, what should you do if you notice emotional distance beginning to creep into your own relationship? First, replace defensiveness with genuine curiosity. Instead of demanding to know why she seems distant or asserting that everything is fine, ask open, inviting questions that create space for honest answers. You might ask, "I've noticed we've both been in our own heads lately. What's been weighing on your mind?" Or simply, "What is one thing I could do this week to help you feel more supported and connected?" When she responds, your only job is to listen. Resist the urge to interrupt, defend your past actions, or immediately solve the problem. Most meaningful breakthroughs happen when a person feels fully understood before solutions are even mentioned. Second, focus on consistency over intensity. Relationships do not transform overnight through one dramatic speech or one perfect weekend. They heal through repeated, predictable moments of emotional reliability. It's the habit of checking in without an agenda. It's following through on small commitments. It's noticing when she seems overwhelmed and offering help before being asked. It's validating her feelings, even when you don't fully agree with her perspective. These behaviors might seem modest on the surface, but psychologically, they carry immense weight. There is one final lesson worth keeping close to your heart. Sometimes, emotional detachment doesn't mean a woman has stopped loving her partner as a person. Often, it simply reflects deep emotional burnout. People grow tired when they feel like they are carrying the heavy lifting of emotional connection all by themselves. Recognizing this early gives both people a real chance to reset the dynamic and rebuild genuine intimacy before the distance becomes permanent. Every relationship follows its own unique path. Some couples navigate difficult seasons, address their hidden patterns, and emerge stronger and more connected than ever. Other relationships reach a natural conclusion, despite sincere efforts from both sides. Neither outcome means you have failed. It simply means that health, self-awareness, and mutual growth should always remain the ultimate goal. The primary takeaway from our conversation today is straightforward. Emotional detachment is rarely a sudden event. It grows quietly through unaddressed patterns, not isolated mistakes. The sooner you learn to read the subtle signs of emotional connection, prioritize everyday responsiveness, and listen with open curiosity, the better equipped you will be to build a relationship that actually lasts. This video is for educational purposes only and reflects general psychological concepts. Individual experiences and relationships are unique. Thank you for spending your valuable time with me today. If this conversation gave you a fresh perspective on female psychology and relationship dynamics, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share your personal insights in the comments below. To keep expanding your understanding, I strongly recommend watching the video appearing on your screen right now. Every conversation we have builds on the last, helping you bring every piece of the relational puzzle into clear focus.